Hello students, welcome to another lecture of pharmaceutical jurisprudence. In our last lecture we started with Schedule M, and as I told you in my last lecture that Schedule M has two parts, part 1 and part 2. And in our last lecture we started with part 1, that is GMP for premises and material, and we studied the initial 10 points in Schedule M. And today we will be studying the remaining parts of part 1, that is GMP for premises and material. So let's start. So the first point is equipment. So the equipment should be designed, they should be constructed and maintained in such a way so that they suit the manufacturing procedure for which they are designed, right? Then secondly, the layout and the designing of a particular equipment should be such so that it minimizes the risk of errors and it facilitates proper cleaning. Then proper cleaning of an equipment is very important, because if an instrument is not cleaned properly, if an equipment is not cleaned properly, then there are chances of cross-contamination, right? And each instrument should have its own logbook and balances, and all the instruments which are used for weighing purposes, they should be calibrated on a regular basis, and logbook of the same should be maintained. And if there is any defective equipment, then that particular equipment should be labeled and it should be kept in a separate area. Now the next point is documentation and record. Keeping a record is very important, and documentation is a very important part of the quality assurance system, right? All the documents, they should be approved, they should be signed, and it should be dated by an authorized person. Now all the records of the entire process which is taking place in the manufacturing unit, the entire process should be recorded on time. Then data should also be recorded by a electronic data processing system, and that particular system should be password protected, and only few people, authorized people, should get access to that particular system. Now coming to the labels. Now labels are very important part, because labels are necessary. Why? Because they give an identification to a particular container, to a particular drug product, and the label also tells us about the use of that particular drug product or that particular equipment, right? So labels should be there on every equipment, every product. Secondly, the label should be bright in color. The label should be properly visible to the person who is reading that, right? Now secondly, different colors can be used to differentiate the status of the product. For example, different colors can be used for the products which are under test, which are approved, which are rejected. Then quality control department has the responsibility to approve all the labels and all the printed materials before use. They have to examine all the labels before those particular labels are used. Then the record of all the labels that you receive in your manufacturing unit, and all the records of the printing material that you receive, they should be properly documented and they should be properly maintained. And labels which are not used or labels which are damaged, they should be destroyed, and records of their destruction should also be maintained by the licensee. Now next is quality assurance. As the name suggests, there is a quality assurance department in each company, in each manufacturing unit, and the responsibility, the prime responsibility of this particular unit or this particular section is to assure that the quality of the products being produced are standard and they comply with the provisions which are laid down in good manufacturing practices, the provisions which are laid down in good clinical practices, and the provisions which are laid down in good laboratory practices. And the responsibility basically of the quality assurance department is to ensure that no particular drug product is given out to be sold to the general public before that particular batch or before that particular product has been approved by a competent person, and that competent person has certified that product to be stable for human use. Now the next point is self-inspection and quality audit. Self-inspection. Self means by ourselves, and inspection means to inspect. So this is a concept in which in a manufacturing unit, the licensee or the head of the manufacturing unit, he makes a team, he forms a team of people from within the manufacturing unit, and those people, they inspect their own manufacturing unit to look in for the flaws and to make sure that the people are complying by the provisions which are laid down in good manufacturing practices. And during the audit, if they find any flaw, then they take steps. Then steps are taken further to rectify that particular flaw. And if that self-inspection team goes for an audit, the entire audit is recorded. Whatever are their observations are recorded, and then steps are taken, corrective actions are taken to rectify the particular flaws which have been identified by that self-inspection team. So coming to the quality control system, there is a quality control department like the quality assurance department in every pharmaceutical industry, right? Basically, all the test of raw material, packing material and finished products, all the laboratory tests, those are done in a quality control department, right? Every unit should has its own quality control laboratory, and proper qualified and experienced people should be working in that particular laboratory. And sometimes what happens, the quality control laboratory can be divided into different sections like the chemical, instrumentation, microbiological or biological testing sections, depending upon the nature of test which they do. Now whatever testing has to take place in the quality control laboratory, a proper standard operating procedure should be there. Standard operating procedure should be there of every equipment, every instrument, every test, and then no batch of the product should be released for sale or supply until it has been certified by an authorized person. Then the people working in the quality control department, they should have access to the production area so that they can go into the production area for sampling. Sampling is basically done to test that particular raw material. And the person who is in charge of the quality assurance department, he shall investigate all the procedures, all the processes which are taking place in the quality control department, and he should ensure that each procedure, each test which is being done is properly recorded. Then all the instruments, all the equipments which are there in quality control department, they should be properly calibrated, and no equipment should be used before proper calibration. Now many times it happens that a particular drug product does not comply to the standard and it is then detained. So any product which is detained by the quality control department, that particular product should be stored for a period of 3 months after its expiry date. Now next is specifications. Now there are certain specifications for all the products and all the materials which are there in a manufacturing unit. For example, there are certain specifications for raw material, that are certain specifications for products of containers, right? Then there are certain specifications for finished product. There are again certain specifications for in-process and bulk products. So those specifications should be strictly followed. Like for example, the specifications for raw material. I'll start with raw material. Raw material includes that they shall include, the raw material should include basically the designated name and internal code reference. It should include the reference, if any, of the pharmacopoeia monograph. Then it should include all the qualitative and quantitative requirements with acceptance limit. Then it should include the name and address of the manufacturer or the supplier from which that particular has been procured. Then it should have the specimens of printed material. Then directions should be there for the sampling and testing procedures. There has to be directions for the sampling. Then their proper storage conditions should be stated. Then there should be a statement stating that what is the maximum period for storage before retesting of that particular raw material. So all these are the specifications which need to be properly and clearly specified for all the products and all the materials which are there in the manufacturing unit. Now coming to the master formula record. Master formula record is mainly a master document for all the pharmaceutical companies, and it contains the entire procedure, the entire process of manufacturing, right? This particular master formula record is mainly given to the company by their research and development team, and all the other records, for example the batch manufacturing record or the batch processing record, the batch packaging record, they are all made from this master formula record. Now the next is packaging record. We need to keep a record of the packaging procedures as well. So the packaging record should mainly include the name of the product, the description of the dosage form or the strength and its composition. Then it should also include the pack size. Then it should include list of all the packing materials that are required in different quantities. So there has to be an authorized packaging procedure, instructions for the packaging, for each batch, for each product, for each pack size and every type, right? Which should include certain points, like for example, it should include the name of the product, it should include the description of the dosage form, the composition and the strength. It should also include all the packaging materials which are used in different compositions. Now coming to the batch packaging record, as the name suggests, this particular document contains all the information about the packaging process of a particular batch, right? The entire details of the packaging process. And each batch packaging record shall be kept for each batch which is to be processed. It is very important to keep the record. And before a new packaging procedure starts, it should be ensured that no other materials of the previous packaging material is there in the prescribed area. Now coming to the batch processing record. This batch processing record is also known as batch manufacturing record. It mainly has information about the entire manufacturing procedure of that particular batch or one single batch. Right, entire step-by-step procedure of a particular batch is recorded in batch manufacturing record or batch processing record, and it is very important to keep this document also. It basically contains the actual data of the batch manufacturing and the whole manufacturing process in a very detailed manner. Now coming to the SOPs and records. Let me give you an example so that you can relate. As you have seen in your laboratories, in every lab we have an instrument, and with that we have a SOP. I hope many of you must have read that. So basically what is an SOP? SOP is basically gives you an SOP mainly has instructions on how to operate or how to go about, how to work on that particular instrument. A detailed procedure of how to use that particular instrument is mainly stated in a standard operating procedure, right? So as we have in our labs, in the same way, in a manufacturing unit, every instrument, every procedure that has to take place should have a standard operating procedure so that the person working in that particular equipment should know how does he has to proceed further. Record should be maintained in a manufacturing unit in a pharmaceutical industry at all point of time. Records of receipt of material should be maintained with proper details. Then if you are sampling a particular product, then record of sampling should be maintained. If you are testing a particular product, record of testing should be maintained. The different tests which are performed, they should be recorded, properly recorded. All the analysis which are done in the laboratory, the records of all the analysis, they should be properly recorded. Thank you so much, students. This was all in today's lecture, and today we studied about the first part of GMP, that is good manufacturing practices for premises and material. There are a few things left in part 1. We'll be discussing them in our coming lectures. I hope today's lecture was clear to you. If you have any queries, any doubt, feel free to reach out to me, and thank you so much for attending the class. Thank you.